Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar on Asset Journey for aged care facilities. We are Asset Journey in partnership with Tulich. We have myself, Scott Restivo, who I'm president, CEO of Crocan Software, and we have Aidan O'Flaherty, who is CFO of Tulich Communities. Tulich Communities is a operator of 4 villages in the Sydney and the New South Wales area, Sydney in that greater Sydney area. And I am Scott Restivo up here in California, and we got together some years ago, 2-3 years ago, to put together this piece of software meant for retirement villages and aged care facilities. It was partly due to the New South Wales requirements, but it's grown from that into a really full-fledged asset management program and task management, maintenance management program for retirement homes and aged care. Now, this webinar is focused specifically on aged care facilities. We will have a recording of this available and posted on YouTube after. But for the people who have joined us, we appreciate your attending and taking the time today. And before we get going, I do want to point out that if you can see this gold badge that we won, we're the winner of the recently, just in the last month or two, we were named Innovator of the Year for our Asset Journey. We're very happy about that with the Innovation National Awards. We beat out some 45 other competitors at least, and we got this award of Innovator of the Year. So quite proud of that. And if you do need to contact us, you can always get a hold of Aidan or myself, but also sales@assetjourney.com. Of course, www.assetjourney.com is our website, and there's a lot of good information there. Now, what I'm going to do in this webinar is turn it over to Aidan, who has a very large set of experience in the aged care and asset management and maintenance task situation there at aged care facilities, and I think he has a pretty good presentation. So you want to go ahead there and take charge there, Aidan?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Just make sure you can hear me okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. That's fine.
So my name's Aidan. So I'm the CFO for Tulich. So we have 6 retirement villages in aged care in New South Wales, most of which are co-located aged care and retirement. As Scott said, I guess we came about with Asset Journey coming from a provider's perspective. So looking at how we do things on the ground as a retirement village and aged care facilities, we were able to sort of build it from the ground up and think about those little things, which I'll sort of go through with you. As Scott said, the retirement village side is a very legislated side at the minute in New South Wales, whereas we wanted to make sure we concentrate on the aged care side as well. We run aged care facilities, and that's all to do with the quality standards, which I'll go through with you now. Then once I've went through that sort of more compliance aspect, Scott will take you into the program and show you basically the features we have, which then align to those quality standards. So just clicking through the first slide. So Asset Journey, so in partnership with Tulich. So as you'll see, you can access it on the laptop, the phone, or the iPad. As an example, in our villages, our maintenance guys are walking around with the iPad, completing all their maintenance tasks, seeing what maintenance tasks they have, getting new maintenance tasks, or even adding maintenance tasks themselves as they go. So it's fully functional across the 3 platforms. So what are we talking about today, really? So aged care based for Asset Journey. So a lot of you will recognize that the famous wheel with the 8 quality standards. So we, I guess, are concerned in terms of Asset Journey more with quality standard 5, which is organization service environment. Just knowing for you, those of you who are obviously keeping up with the compliance side of things, there are some revised quality standards coming out or going to come out. It's in, I guess, in a review state at the minute. That organization service environment is about to become quality standard number 4, but very similar. So I'll take you through what 5 says, but pretty much the new 4 will be very similar. So what does it mean? What does it all mean? So standard 5 organization is an organization service environment. So what does that mean for a consumer? It means I feel I belong and I'm safe and comfortable in the organization service environment. And from the organization's perspective, that you need to be able to provide a safe and comfortable service environment that promotes independence, function, and enjoyment. The main requirements are sort of set across, I guess, 3 sections. Part 3A is the environment is welcoming. So that becomes more of, I guess, a design aspect. Where we get more interested in terms of Asset Journey is 3B and 3C. where the environment has to be safe, clean, well maintained and comfortable, and furniture, fittings and equipment are safe, clean, well maintained and suitable for the customer. So just to delve into that a bit further, so meaning of service environment, so I guess when you're looking at standard 5, these are the main things you're looking at. So you want to support your residents to be part of the community, minimize confusion, ensure consumers are basically making the most of their living areas. But for us, it's really about making sure that, you know, the assets and furniture and equipment and anything else you have in an aged care facility is basically well maintained. You've got preventative maintenance for it. You have the ability for residents to provide feedback. So I guess it's the ability to make sure you're managing your service environment. So the main parts, I guess, requirement 3B, the service environment. So the service environment has to be safe, clean, well maintained and comfortable. It needs to be fit for purpose, in line with the statutory requirements. As it notes here, each service environment is different. So the key where we sort of come in again is our product is very customizable, so you can sort of mold it to your aged care facility to make sure that your service environment is safe, clean, well maintained and comfortable. As it says here, it could basically include anywhere in your facility: building, access point, parking areas, gardens, general appearance. So you're really talking about not just your assets, it's the building, how the building looks, how the gardening looks, all that stuff, and all that stuff can be tracked within Asset Journey. Some reflective questions. They're sort of out of line, but let's ignore that. So when you sort of look at 3B, consumers want to feel safe in the service environment and know how to let the workforce know if they don't feel safe. They want to make sure it's clean, well maintained and comfortable. You have to have arrangements to have internal and external service environments. And basically, you just want to make sure everything's well maintained. So the second part is requirement 3C, which is furniture, fittings, and equipment. So as this says, all the intent of that quality standard is that you need to basically consider how safe your equipment is, how clean and well maintained and suitable it is. You know, a good point here is if a consumer owns the equipment they need, the organization needs to make every effort to make sure that it's clean, safe, and suitable for the consumer to use. So even if you don't own it and they own it, you still need to go through the same process. And one of the key elements we have, which Scott will show you later, is we built into it that you can basically track resident-owned items so that they're separate and you can identify what you own versus what they own. Something like, for example, testing and tagging that you got to do every year. You can do that all through Asset Journey and track it all. So again, it's all just aligning very much to those quality standards. So I guess that's a bit of an overview of the quality standards. So for us, I guess it's mainly, as building from an aged care facility perspective, it's making sure we align with quality standard 5, about to be quality standard 4, and making sure that we've thought about all those little things within the software, which basically align to making sure you're compliant, essentially. So these slides are all about retirement villages, so I can ignore those for now, for this purpose. And what Scott might do is take you into the product and sort of showing you what it is. But some of the things I guess it does is you can include all your assets. So I guess when the New South Wales legislation for retirement villages came out, they talked about assets over $1,000. Basically, put all your assets in there is what I always say, because it's always good to track all your assets. Within Asset Journey, you have your asset register, your maintenance schedules. You can track all maintenance and repairs of every asset. You can do some cool reporting functionalities of repair versus replace, which Scott will run through and show you. So really, I guess the end slide of this is, I guess you can request a more in-depth demo or give me a call on that number, or email sales@assetjourney.com. If you want to give me a call, just talk through the quality standards, how we've built the product around them, just do that. But what might be good now is if Scott jumps into the program and shows you some of the functionality, which you'll see will align to the quality standards.
Yeah, that's right, Aidan. That's actually right. It's good to get a one-on-one demo to see and understand the requirements and special situations at each village, so that we can what's going on here. It's going to switch over to the screen in a second so that we can talk directly with the operator, you and whoever is out there listening, to have find out your needs and how we can help meet them. Now, like Aidan's saying, a lot of what we did originally was for the retirement villages and the New South Wales legislative requirements, but the program has proven to be Asset Journey program proven to be very useful in many other circumstances, and now it's expanded to include aged care. So in this program, in the Asset Journey program, we it's a welcoming screen here, a dashboard with certain lists of how many assets, how many are active, overdue tasks, different graphs, searching, and a list of the assets and that you have at your village or aged care facility. And we'll go into that in a moment. There's maintenance tasks, there's reports, there's aged care reports, there's other kinds of reports, there's resident feedback, suppliers contract, barcode action. So it's quite a number of activities going on here. The main ones being that you have your list of assets. And as Aidan said, they don't have to be the ones that are just major items of capital, $1,000 or more. They can be all your assets, and a lot of our customers are doing all that to put all their assets in. Because the second part of it is the maintenance tasks, and the maintenance tasks are such that they are tasks to fix things, repair things, and there's two types: preventative maintenance, which are regular recurring repairs on a certain schedule, usually change a filter, recalibrate something, check this, check that, any kind of routine repair. And then there's reactive maintenance, which is when something breaks or needs immediate attention and or has to be replaced. So both of those things are tracked as maintenance tasks related to assets. And the key here is that the task and the assets are related together. Our program uses those two tasks and assets together to produce the reports, whether there's legislative required or just for good operations of the village and the facility, is to have those reports. And then we have the resident feedback, which is a part of maintaining and operating, whether it's retirement village or aged care, is to get feedback from the residents or relatives or others that have some input into whether you're meeting the standards or not, and then how to deal with that input, how to react to it, and take corrective action if needed. Okay, so the assets, let's look at an asset. Now, in our program, you can import assets from a spreadsheet or other database if you have that already. You can also create assets as a new asset right off the bat. Come here directly. But let's look at the full list of assets here. And in the full list of assets, you have you can have a large list, and you can group and sort it by different things if you want, filter by category and arrange it by different ways right here in the program itself, or you can have a set of views. There's only a few views here, but you can create as many views as you like. Here's one interesting one: assets by room or assets by location. And now the assets are grouped according to the location of the asset. But there's many other ways to do it. If you could build an assets by status, inactive assets, all assets, in-service assets. I mean, many ways to slice and dice this data of the assets and get that going. Now, if you select one or more assets, then a number of options come up here. If you want to print it or make a comment or delete or update the status, many things you can do here with the buttons that are there at the top, and these we call custom actions. You can set up new ones if you want, new custom actions as needed in our program, a very flexible program to get what you need done. And what that really does is automate things, because it isn't just a list of assets, it's also the fact that there's workflows and custom actions and processes going on behind it. So if there's a due date or there's some kind of indicator that something needs to be done on the asset, then people will be notified. But most of the way we do that is through the task. So we'll go to the task in a minute and talk more about that. Let's look at an individual asset at the moment before we go to the task. And the individual asset each has a lot of information on it, because some of it's required by legislation. Other times it's just practical to have that information there. And again, it looks a little bit overwhelming, but when you set the system up, we make it very easy, because you can choose an asset type, which is essentially an asset template. And every refrigerator, more or less, of this type is going to have a lot of similar information. So when you create a new one and you choose the asset template or asset type of that refrigerator or dishwasher or whatever it is, it's going to fill in fields automatically and save you a lot of work by having that pre-filled information there. Now, in this particular item, we have asset ID number is generated automatically. If you have some system of identifying assets, we can modify it to do that, but if not, it will generate it automatically. And you give it a title, a description, condition, it could be good, excellent, fair. Reporting type has to do with the legislative reports, where it's an individual or a group or a construction item. And the 10-year plan start date, this one is 7/1. Oh, it's got the US date here because I'm in US, but it would normally be 1/7, so July 1st, 2022. And so then you have other information about the asset, status, category, make, model. You can have barcoding if you like, and where it's located. And these are cascaded lists you set up according to your village. You may have multiple buildings and multiple floors in that building, and then multiple rooms. So however that is, we can make that flexible enough to set up and give a clear idea where that asset is located. You also have percentage of usage. This is for legislation. How much is used by aged care? How much is used by village? And then part of the reports will read that and respond and report accordingly. Especially has to do with how the costs are allocated across the different departments. A finance tab's pretty simple, just recording who the supplier is, when it was purchased, how much effective life it has, the cost of replacement, if there was an invoice number, purchase price, proposed date of replacement, and actual date of replacement. All this is good information to have on the asset. Maintenance is a lot of where the work goes on here is the maintenance of the asset. So you have, like I said earlier, preventive maintenance and you have reactive maintenance. So you have two different kinds of maintenance going on, and you can create a new task from here or a reactive task from here, or you can also do it from the task itself. And every task that's related to this asset is recorded here. So you have a running record of all the tasks that were done, who did it, when it was done, is it complete, how much it cost. All that's recorded on the asset, and you can open up an individual one and take a look at it if you like, and then you can see, drill down into more detail about this particular piece of work that was done on this asset right here. So then down below is a lot of information that has related to the necessity of these maintenance reports and estimated reports that are part of the legislation. If you want to use these sections, you can. They're useful for budgeting and projecting into the future, estimated PM, estimated RM for the next 10 years, as well as actual maintenance. And this is recording the cost of the maintenance, whether it's PM or RM maintenance, is recording the actual cost. So you get a really good idea of what's going on with each asset. And most important is whether it needs to be replaced, or whether residents are asking, how much repairs have been done, when they were done, who did them, and all those kind of things, as well as indicating when perhaps an item is faulty, had too many repairs in the first couple of years, and you can replace it well before its effective life is required to do it. Now, I talked about assets somewhat. I mean, there's a lot more I can go into here, and we would in an individual one-on-one session. But there's also maintenance tasks. So if we do a new maintenance task, and as I said, you could create it right from the asset itself, but if you do a new one from here, you can fill in the name, the type, cost usually due after, obviously mostly after it's done. Type means, is it preventative or reactive? When you'd like to start it, when it's due, when it's completed. And then there's who you're going to assign it to, what priority, what's the status, which changes, of course, as the task goes through its life. Is it about one asset or about a group of assets? We have this feature now where it can be about an individual asset, and you can choose what building, location, room, and asset, or it can be about a group of assets, and the group of assets could be everything in building A, building B. You set these up on the back end, all the dishwashers, all the refrigerators in building A. That way it sets up a task for a group of items rather than individual. You can do it either way. And the interesting thing about the maintenance group is that when the task is completed, the total cost up here, say it was $1,200, and you had 10 items in your maintenance group. A maintenance group consists of 10 different assets, 10 dishwashers or 10 fridges or whatever they are. Then it will split up the cost evenly across all 10, so that the cost of repairs for each individual asset is recorded, even though the task is about the whole group. So it's evenly divided across the group. Now, if any one of the group and during your preventative maintenance, you find it has a particular problem and needs to have more repairs done on it, then you would create a reactive maintenance task just for that one item and record the cost of that individually. So it makes a really nice system of grouping tasks, recurring tasks, when they're going to appear. There's a recurrence calendar you set up, different recurring tasks, and automatically every, say, first of the month you have to do something, or every 6 months you have to do something. It's going to create that task related to a particular asset, and then everything, people look at their tasks, and all of a sudden they're assigned automatically all these different tasks, and they get noticed. Now, as I was saying, there's a lot of underneath workflows going on here. Our system, Crow Canyon system, runs on our platform, our forms and workflow platform that's on top of Office 365. We call it Nitro Studio, and what that does is allow tremendous amount of, whether it's these custom actions up here or workflows that run based on certain timers. So the tasks are not just created and sit there, they're monitored, and when it's created, there's a series of activities that happen. It's the person is assigned to is notified, maybe a manager is notified, whomever you want to notify. And if the task isn't modified in a certain amount of time, those notifications can go out about that. It can be automatically updated to a higher priority. It can be reassigned to somebody else. And when it changes status or it's completed, another set of notifications and activities can take place. And most important is when it's completed, the workflow behind the scenes will take the information on the cost and attribute it properly to each asset, so that the asset all of a sudden now has a cost on it that it did not previously have. So if you look at this one, this asset number 006 or whatever, the maintenance here, there is $50. No, that's estimated right here. There isn't any actual cost of preventive maintenance because no tasks have been done on this one or have been completed on this one yet. But when they are, they will right into that category right there. The amount of time that's been, the amount of money that's been spent for repairing the accumulated cost, and it's additive. Now, once you have all the information in place, and usually what we find is that the asset, you set up the assets, you add in, delete to them, modify them, fairly regularly as you buy a new one or replace one and that kind of thing. Maintenance tasks is where a lot more of the activity is going on day to day, because you want to, either have to fix something or do some preventative. It's pretty much where a lot of the work, day-to-day work of asset journey is going on. And then if you do need to issue reports, you can come in and issue a report that are legislatively sound. Somebody asks for your asset register report, you come in and just click the button and you're going to get your reports going. What's going on here? Age care report, let's see. Oh, it's supposed to load that. There it is. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. And now it's loading the next screen here. Maybe it's just got a moment glitch, which happens in a webinar sometimes. So let's go back here and take a look at what's going on. Yeah, there it is. Sorry about that. That was just a hiccup in the system because of you got to have the demo demons, right? The demo Grinches. So we have a report here we're going to issue. We're going to include all items greater any item that costs more than 0, which is everything, or you can restrict it to everything over 1,000, and then you're going to generate the report. And the report comes off into an Excel spreadsheet. This is the asset register report, and it's loading on the other side, and I'll drag it over. And you can see all this is in a nice looking spreadsheet that you can share with your residents or maintenance or whatever, operations, management. And then it'll give you all a list of all the assets and information about each one, when it was purchased, the date, effective life, how much effective life is remaining, which is important because here's one under 1 year and it might need replacing. And this one is this one is brand new. So it's got 10 more years of a 10 years. This one looks like a negative, so therefore it probably should be replaced already. So I mean, you get this kind of information. Of course, a demo, so things are maybe not how they are in real life, but you get the idea that you're really being able to manage the assets quite nicely. You can group items together. You can have building and structure assets that work together right there to give you the kind of reports you need. And then if the required reports report on village assets, age care reports on any kind of asset. It doesn't matter whether it's, you can choose different departments, resident owned and cafes and takeout village if you want. So you can do, different reporting on different sets of assets by what department they're associated with, which is really pretty cool. And then if you want to do just general reporting on task management and that kind of thing, you see, you know, open tasks by month, you set up these reports, and you're getting to see, oh, we don't have any tasks, so it's, you know, it's only showing very few tasks here. But anyway, we have some tasks, and it's showing you some reports, and these are useful too. Now let's go into resident feedback, because there's two kinds of resident feedback. One is for about the asset management plan itself, and residents can come in and comment. They've got 60 days to comment according to the New South Wales legislation. They can say, you know, title is, oh, you're all wrong about that. My refrigerator is blah, blah, blah. I don't know, whatever they say, and who it is, where it's located, what the comments actually are. Now, according to legislation, you're supposed to record all these comments and then take some kind of action. So you tie it to some kind of report. We just did an asset register report, version 1, and now it was created today. So we say, you know, comment was say the comment was done today, and then you have to record whether you revised the AMP or not, the asset management plan, and then if you did, what'd you do? If not, why not? And this is just, you know, if anybody like comes back to you and says, oh, I submitted that feedback and I never heard anything, we say, well, look, this is what we did on it, and you can, you know, have the record there. And the similar kind of idea is a more general feedback form that we have for aged care, where pretty much anyone, mostly it's going to be the resident or relatives or staff, could be other people are going to come in and start providing feedback as to what kind of feedback, what facility, the type of feedback it is. Again, customizable. If you need, if you want other items in this list, you can put other items in the list. And then, you know, is it new? It's new feedback at first, of course, but is it in progress? Has it been resolved? And then if it's not resolved, you know, if it's received today and it's not resolved for 1 week, you could send a notice out to the manager, or it turns red in the list like overdue, and that gives you a really good way to keep track and make sure you're fulfilling the obligation to provide some kind of feedback and respond to it, which is part of the quality standards. Now, many other factors in this program, we want to show that it's a very useful, very practical program, and that we've put a lot of thought into how it works. I think I'll show you one more thing, is such as barcode actions. If someone's using barcodes, you can do things like, if you come here, I don't have a barcode scanner on me for this demo, but if I did, I could come in here and blip, 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 blip. I go to edit mode. Hold on a second. I go to edit mode, and then I go here and I could blip, 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 blip a series of barcodes right here, and then decide I want to change it to, I want to create an asset of the type dishwasher or board table or whatever. Or I could change the status of the assets. You know, here's all the barcodes, and I want to change the status to inactive or in service or whatever. It could be 5, 10, 20 different barcodes here. And the same idea with, you know, create a task for the asset, change the location, check it in, check it out. So all these options are available with our barcode actions. And if you had other ones you needed to create, we could certainly do them and create them and work with you on that. And in addition to that, we keep track of suppliers, which is important for tasks. Tasks might go out to an HVAC supplier or plumbing supplier, and contracts that you might have with those people as far as maintenance and things like that. So it makes a really nice, tight, you know, effective program for maintenance of assets and tasks. And I think we'll leave it at that, because the next step really after this is to talk one-on-one with any of you and do a one-on-one demo. We do those, you know, fairly regularly, almost every day, if not, you know, a few times a week. We talk to customers, potential customers, about what this product can do. And, you know, as I stated, we stated at the beginning, it's the winner of that Innovator of the Year award. Aiden's available there in Sydney to talk with anybody and help out and move this along. We go to village summits and leadership summits and you know, many events in the retirement home and aged care facility world. And you know, we'd love to hear from you and what you need done, what you're looking for in the solution like this. Now, Aiden, are you there?
Yes, so thanks for that, Scott. So as Scott was saying, yeah, we do quite a lot of, I guess, exhibits, I guess. Specifically in the aged care world, we were at ACPA in October in Adelaide, the ACPA Congress 2022. We'll be there again in 2023, and it's in Adelaide again in October, I believe. You know, so we are, I guess, taking this space seriously. As Scott was showing you, I guess, just coming from a aged care operator perspective, just to sum up for the webinar, I guess we find it absolutely pivotal, I guess, using this product in terms of, I guess, what the first one would be accreditors come in and they say, right, show me your preventative maintenance, show me where the lifts were last maintained, and you can essentially go straight into asset journey, find the lifts, find all the preventative maintenance, click on it, and it will then you can also attach your service reports. We find that a big one. Asset location is a big one. So there is barcoding where you can scan and move assets, but basically at any given time you can see where your assets are. A good example is we have a facility that is multi-level, and lifters move from level 3 to 5 to 5 to 6 to so on and so forth. And because we change the location of the lifter, we know where it is at all times. And then really just having a definitive asset register where you can have the repair and replace decision, basically, and aid your decision making of when you should be replacing assets. A good example is, and this is probably in one of our older villages, which has a sewage plant, for example. I know from being obviously the CFO and looking at this stuff, right, that the maintaining of that sewage plant is a lot, and it breaks down a lot. You need to replace a lot of parts. And I guess that's been happening for 10, 12 years. And as soon as we got the foresight of using a software to basically plan that stuff for us, we can actually predict when we should have replaced it, which was about 4 years ago. And now we've replaced it so that we can, looking forward, we know exactly what's happening with that asset. So I think even just for, and obviously we don't really talk about pricing in this sort of webinar, but the return on investment is pretty quick in terms of the savings you make and in terms of that decision-making capability. But I won't go into any further than that. I guess, as Scott said, let us know if you want a demo, and we go into everything in a lot more detail. And we can discuss much more in much more detail.
Yeah, thank you, Aidan. I think you're absolutely right that this is a very cost-effective, and the ROI is really nice on this. And it's amazing how many people don't maintain their assets and have kind of basic systems that are inefficient, and bringing in new software that is geared and tuned specifically for this purpose has been very beneficial to many of the organizations we're in. We're in many villages down in New South Wales, but also expanding into Victoria, Queensland, and other locations around Australia. So it's quite popular program, and we'd be glad to hear from you. I think we're good on that, right? With this webinar, we don't think, I don't see any questions, so I think we hopefully we answered everybody's questions. So we'll make a recording available, and go from there, and hope to hear from you and either see you at a summit or hear from you by email, or give a call to Aidan and see where we can go on your asset journey. It's time for your asset journey. Take your asset journey, right? What asset journey?
Join us for the journey.
We're good here? All right, thank you. Okay, have a good day. Okay, bye-bye.